A claim spreading in some viral messages says millionaires are getting $1 million stimulus checks. But is it true? To find out, we had our Verify team investigate. Here's our Jason Puckett.
Tweets like this one from actor Don Cheadle claim 43,000 millionaires will get an average $1.6 million from the stimulus bill. So we're verifying, is this true and how would that be possible? Our sources here, the CARES Act itself, along with data from the Joint Committee on Taxation, a nonpartisan body of Congress. There are two parts of the bill that people point to. On page 193 of the CARES Act, there's a, quote, modification for net operating losses. And then on page 205, there's the, quote, modification of credit for prior year. Combined, these two sections of the bill changed tax law in 2020. They let a certain type of business owner, like real estate investors, for instance, use their financial losses in recent years to lower the amount of taxes they will owe in 2020. Basically, qualifying people will pay less on their taxes in 2020. Now, the Joint Committee on Taxation, or JCT, explains the reasoning a bit. People are expected to lose a lot of money in 2020 because of COVID-19. These tax cuts would, in theory, help them keep more money and offset the loss. But the changes affect some groups more than others. The JCT sent this letter to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and Representative Lloyd Doggett last week. It breaks down who gets these cuts and how much. This will affect people in all income brackets, but the largest group is those making more than $1 million each year. The JCT estimates that about 43,000 people with more than $1 million in income will see a combined $70.3 billion tax break in 2020. Now that averages to about $1.6 million per person. So yeah, we can verify these claims are correct. Changes to the tax law in the CARES Act are estimated to lower taxes for about 43,000 people who make $1 million or more in income. And the total averages out to about $1.6 million per person. A few important notes: this isn't a lump check or payment, just a reduction of taxes in 2020. And a reminder that these are just estimates. It's possible they could change if the pandemic's effects on the economy also change.
And if you would like us to verify something, send an email with your idea to verify@12news.com. Post your question to the 12 News Facebook page, or feel free to tweet us at 12 News.